Hey everybody, thank you for joining me today. So today's video is going to be a little different. We're going to be working on a scrapbook, sort of like basically a notepad holder. I had made this from MayMay made it, and if I have I'll put a link to that particular video down below, but I wanted to make it where you could change out the notepad and make it a little bit bigger. So I'm cutting my chipboard pieces to, I think I measured it to be 5.5 by 9 inches. And then for my spine of the book itself, I'm making it, I want to say it was 1 inch. And then, so it would be 1 inch by 9. And then that'll be the base for the actual book itself. Excuse me. So then what I did is I basically measured the notepad that we're using in order to create the sizes. Now the only thing I would do differently would be to, oh wait, here it goes. All right, it's 11 by 9 by 12. Oh, those are the pieces of the paper for what we're going to use to cover the book itself. I was like, why did I write those measurements? Anyway, my idea is so that, like I was telling you, that we'd be able to change out the notepad. And I got these particular notepads from, I want to say, the Dollar Tree. So this would also make a great, gift idea for family members or people who like to jot down notes and stuff. And you can make it just a little bit bigger, and it'll allow for the pad to be changed out. So right now, all I'm doing is your typical laying it down to get it spaced out. I put the spine in the center where we attached our two pieces of paper. And then I'm using the score tape to create an even distance between the chipboard pieces. And that helps me line up without having to mark or, score on the pages to line it up that way. I find it's a lot easier just to use the score tape itself in the middle. And I'm using the score tape and art glitter glue. And now that I have everything on, you can see there I just went around all the four corners of the paper and the chipboard, because I like to use double the tape to make sure it's nice and strong. And right now we're just going to miter, I think that's what it was called, miter our edges, which will allow us to have a nice crisp and clean corners. Okay, you want to make sure you leave at least 1/8 of an inch between the point of the chipboard and the diagonal cut that you're making, so that way when you attach everything, it'll be a really nice finished corner. And I always try to make sure I use my bone folder to help the little creases on the inside, and also to burnish the paper itself. Make sure it's nice and secure to the paper. And then we're going to take the sharp point edge to bring that one side down, and then we're going to pull it over, and it creates a nice finished look instead of it being like we pieced it. Now if you have any pieces that do stick out, because sometimes they do, because you cut too much or whatever happens, then I would just grab some distress ink. Decide to ink your edges, and it'll help camouflage any of that. So for the inside piece of paper, I'm using this particular paper right here, and I want to say, because I have it here in front of me, I cut it down to be exactly, 6.5 by 8 3/4. And I did that because a lot of times when we try to use one sheet to go across the middle, you get bubbles, or the paper starts to lift and it looks weird. I didn't want that for this particular one. And because of the way that the pattern is busy enough that it can layer in the center, and it didn't bother me. Now here I'm measuring my slit that I'm going to put into the paper for the pad itself to go through. And I made it exactly the same width as our notepad. And I realized in making this, we probably want to go a little bit bigger, only because it made it super tight. But right now, all I'm doing is marking my line. I did a eighth of an inch in between, I think it was. Either eighth of an inch or a quarter. And I'm just trying to make sure that everything is fitting in there. And I just cut a little slits in there to try and get it to fold down. And what I should have realized is by putting it as close as I did to the edge, it made it so that it really put it in nice and snug, and it's hard to take it in and out. But those two strips right there are 3/4 by 5 inch. And what those are going to do is help reinforce our cut, our opening there. And we're just using some score tape underneath so that way it's good and secure. And we're going to go ahead and start attaching our decorative pieces. And I'm just using that my pick tool there to help take the backings off. It really does help. If you have any like a pokey tool, anything like that, it'll help grab that paper so it's easier to pull off. And then here is where I probably should have used 1/8 inch score tape instead of the 1/4 inch. On the one side it's fine because there's plenty of room, but on that very end I probably needed just a small sliver of score tape instead of using the 1/4 inch because it took up way more room than I anticipated. But it really does lay down very easy, very quickly, and the concept of it would be great because, you know, as you use it, when you're done with the pad itself, you could potentially pull it out, replace it, and you would be able to use it over and over and over again. That was my intent because the one from MayMay, the way that it's set up, it's almost like a one and done. And I was like, well, I wish there was a way that you could just take it out, put it back in, take it out. But the way you put it together, it kind of makes it, it's just that one pad. Now in the center there, I want to create a small little piece that's going to attach here where we would be able to then put the pen or whatever, you know, writing utensil you would want to use. And I think I made it, is it right at 2 inches? And then I created just a little bit of a tab so that way you would be able to use the score tape to put it down. Oh, I realized I made it too long. That's right. I was like, why did I? Yeah, because it didn't need to be that wide. So I think I just made it at that point like 1 inch, and then it would fit perfectly. And then just to show you that on the other side, you can do whatever you want. You can make a side pocket. You could do a couple of pockets, like different layers of pockets. On this particular one, I think I just took and measured it 6.5, I think it is. And then I just did a 1/2 inch score on the 3 sides, cut on an angle, and then we're going to put some score tape and create nice edges. And then we'll be able to attach it at the bottom. And then you have a little pocket, and I'm just going to slide something in there real quick, just so you can see that, you know, that could be used. And then you can decorate the front any way you want. So I did with the flowers and this ephemera card. It says, "Today will be the day." And then I just decorated it in my favorite colors. I love this paper collection. And, you know, I just tried to keep it as simple as possible. Um, and then I added the flowers on the front, and it's still able to open up wide, and you can use the inside of the notepad very easy. And I wish I could. I didn't write down that little measurement for that centerpiece where the pins go, but the length of it, let me just make sure. Okay, yeah, actually I made it an inch and a half. So if you wanted to, you could make it a little bit shorter and just make it the inch, because you don't need that much for the pin to hook to. And, you know, then just make it so that way you create a nice enough, you know, section for it to all combine. Or you can make it to where, you know, if they want to keep a pen with it, they can just put it in the pocket, depending on how big you make your pocket. So, well, this was my project share. Like I said, I had did it a while ago, and I wasn't going to share it because I didn't like how my pocket turned out for the uh, notepad to go into. However, I think I will be doing this again only because I want to be able to show you and share with it actually being able to be taken in and out the way that I had envisioned. So this is just that's why this one is titled Take One. Down the road, hopefully maybe before Christmas, I can do another one and have it the way that I visually intended it in my mind. Okay, but thank you guys for joining me. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, and share button. And at the very end here, I'm going to have videos or links to previous projects, layouts, and cards and stuff. And I hope you guys have a great day.